Hello there, this is Bic Benedict. We're playing Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition on Dante Must Die difficulty. We're going through the campaign as Vergil, sans items, and this is the PC version. So, these are the Mephistos, and on Legendary Dark Knight mode, I remember there was about 15, maybe 20 of these guys out here. And the thing to do on these guys is to do the Blistering Swords attack, which is right bumper plus forward X hold. And two of those will take them from their ethereal form to their corporeal, meaning that they will drop their cloak and crawl on the ground like this, and they're completely defenseless. Same goes with the Fausts. When they drop, they have no attack. And the only threat on Legendary Dark Knight mode, because I've played the entire campaign, I've done a guide for it, it's only when like 5 or more enemies are hitting you like simultaneously. That's when you really start to feel the burn of that difficulty, because you'll be down to the red really quick, but that's about it. I don't want to focus on that difficulty mode because that's not the mode we're playing. And then in the Master's house here, you're gonna have two. Is there 2 of them? There might be 3. I don't know who died here. One of them may have perished. I got a good evade right there. When you're doing this game, I don't know how many iframes you get for the jump. It isn't many, if you get any at all. And the devil trigger cancel in this game, which I always do out of old habit, there aren't as many either. So it's the trick actions that will generate all of the iframes that you'll need to survive on this difficulty, and which will substitute for the block in this game. There is no double jump for Vergil, unless you count what the menu counts as a double jump, and that's the enemy step. But as far as like a traditional jump where where you can jump on an invisible pad and kind of jump a second time, which is really, I think this character would benefit from it, but my opinions are mainly in the minority because I don't approach these games as normal players do. Like a lot of people, they focus on score. And that's just, it was designed around score. I'm not going to argue that, but that's not the way I ever play these games. I just don't care about score. I said the same thing on Metal Gear Rising, but I think there's a difference, and I'm not sure. I think there is a difference, but I just don't want to go into it right now, because at the bottom of this well here, you've got 2 more of these Mephistos, and their attacks, they telegraph them. I'm not sure the kind of weapon they have. It's some kind of a lance or something, and you'll see the tip of it glow. And what they do is they do a quick poke at you. And if you are struggling on this game and you have turbo mode on, you may want to turn that off, because when I was playing DMC3, I put turbo on and I was really struggling. And then when I took it off, I had a little bit of an easier time. I mean, a little bit of an easier time. Because that game is hellish on Dante Must Die, and it's not fun. I would say that this game on Dante Must Die is fun, and I think that the third one is just overkill. I think that game, there's no other game that's as hard. None for a hack and slash game. I mean, that game will embarrass you, and indeed it did to me too. And then you'll see the Faust coming down here, and he is a more violent, more aggressive, and more resilient version of the Mephistos. And he has got a lot of ranged attacks, so if you keep him off the camera as best as you can, build up the concentration gauge, save up the devil trigger, you can then use the blistering swords on this guy as well to drop him. It may take more than 2 sets of blistering swords, but if you activate the devil trigger and then throw the blistering swords, you may have only to throw 2 sets. And likewise on the Mephistos, the devil trigger blistering swords, it's just 1 time, and then you'll down them. So after you obtain this talisman here, you will get this jump pad here, and I realize that there's an item over here. There's a holy water, and there's a red orb to smash, like one of those large red orb rocks, but I did all that off camera. So this fight here, what I'm going to do is just immediately destroy the frost using the what's it called? It's called the lunar phase, I believe. There may be another variation of it, like the naming property of it, for when you're just standing on the ground and pressing right bumper plus forward plus Y. So I'll have to double check that, but the inputs I'm telling you are spot on for that. And then let's see, when does this, okay, so the second frost, I had this all outlined when I did my last guide. I think the second frost will spawn, it's hard to say. I didn't analyze this the way I did it last time, and that's where a lot of the sufferings of my my remastered guides come in, because they tend to suffer just as a normal course when you're having to repeat yourself and you already realize that you've already commentated this and you did it quite well. Although I never got this far in the publication process that I published this video. But I believe it's you kill. I think it's just the second frost will come in when there are about 2 of the Mephistos left. And I had to start this chapter over because I think I pushed one of these things down into the well, and he somehow unspawned, and I couldn't do anything about it, and I had to restart. And that's just another reason why I would say have a reset from checkpoint in these games. That doesn't happen often. Indeed, it happens a lot with the definitive edition on DMC, because that game is just it's just kind of trashy at some places. But you're gonna have 3 more frosts out here. Just realize that you don't have to do it. A lot of the reasons why I do all the fights in games, just to give you an example, at least there was somebody on YouTube who had done a Ninja Gaiden 2 Master Ninja no damage run. I think it still exists. I didn't watch it all, but the guy was there was nothing. I just want to say there was nothing wrong with what he did, except that just I think almost every optional fight he would flee from it. And admittedly, there aren't many optional fights in that game. I don't think. A lot of the fights are pretty forced on you. I can't remember, but he was just fleeing from a lot of fights and unspawning a lot of enemies, things like that. And I just think it reduced the credibility of his guide a little bit. Although I have to tip my hat to anybody who can do the bosses no damage, because that's out of my comprehension as a gamer. But as far as difficulty, this game it's extremely hard. I mean, all of these games are very challenging. This is my favorite Devil May Cry, so that's why I'm picking it up and remastering my guide. And another reason is I just like these games, like this type of a game, the archetype for this type of a game. It really appeals to me, and I can't tell you how much I love this game. It's fantastic. It's a load of fun, and it's hard. Any type of similar type of game that you could come across would fall short of what this game is, because it's such a great masterpiece. So you'll have to forgive me here. I'm going to smash these. I don't like how they require you to get red orbs. I mean, I don't mind anything about getting the red orbs, but if they're going to time you and you're going out of your way to smash everything, that seems kind of counterproductive. Oh, I don't think I mentioned how you activate the gyro blades. You melee them one time, and then you throw the swords at them to make them spin quickly. And then there is no boss for this chapter. We do have Agnes coming up, and he was the one boss that I was really curious about how they're going to make it work, because you're supposed to throw the Gladiuses back at Agnes. Angus. I think it's a hard name to say. It's a weird name, but I have a great strategy. I won't impart what it is because I wanted to save it for the actual video that's coming up. But if you are struggling, your struggles will cease once you watch my video. And once you come up here, the screen will freeze, it will get sliced, and we will take a look at the scorecard to make sure that I use no items, and I did not take care.